All right, another week. It's Eat, Pray, Limbs again. The full crew is back. Za, Sam's Army, myself. Guys, how we feeling? Sam, we'll start with you. Big week ahead.
Good and bad. It's basically all based on last week, and I'm excited. Tottenham doesn't stink completely, but it's always the games we win where it's like, did we really want to win that game? Do we really want to help Arsenal win the title? I don't know. So it's even when Tottenham wins, they find a way to sort of make me unhappy. I don't know. But yeah, it's good. I'm good. I'm feeling good. I'm looking forward to a great weekend of soccer here, and the weather in Chicago ain't so bad. So yeah, all in all, I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Love that. Za, yourself?
I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I shouldn't be. It's been smooth coasting so far, but the little blip at Everton, preceded by the one against Man City that was 2 losses in a row, has me a little worried a little bit. But hey, at least we still got that 5-point buffer, so things are still all right. But we're sneaking into that sneaky bomb time territory.
Sounds like I'm the only guy that's feeling good, and Forest is in 13th place. So that I don't know what to make of that. I feel like we got another the second road win coming up, and I'm looking at the table here too, Sam, where you guys actually have played 2 more games in Brighton. So theoretically, they could just win 2 and then bump you out.
Theoretically. I mean, well, listen, the fact that we're in 5th place right now is just mind-boggling, to borrow a phrase from Kevin.
You think they should be down with Chelsea?
It just
and Liverpool?
doesn't feel. Yeah, it doesn't feel like we're like a top 4 battling team. Like, we just don't feel like that. But listen, I've been saying it all season. Like, how are we still in 4th? How are we still in 5th? I have no idea. I'm not complaining about it. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like we deserve to be in 5th right now.
Well, you might be in 4th in short order if we have a points reduction for Man City. So what do we make of that whole situation, both of you guys? Because I have some thoughts on that. Zal, we'll start with you quickly.
I mean, did we all know this was happening? Of course. I mean, every single club out there is every single business out there is a crook. They rules are guidelines that are meant to be bent, borderline broken, in some case broken. So I mean, these guys, City were relentless. That success, it's you could tell in a short period of time, they got so many players. They just went from being a Division 2 team to all of a sudden being champions of the Premier League. What do I think is going to happen? The usual. All that's going to happen is a slap on the wrist, get fines, and we keep it moving kind of deal. The whole relegation thing that people have been going on about on Twitter, that they want City relegated, that's not going to happen. I don't foresee that happening at all. They're not going to get expelled from the Premier League, I don't think, because that's just too drastic. This is the first kind of case that we've had in the Premier League that's like this. So there's no precedent that was set from before to get guidelines from. So at most, I think it's going to be a fine and possibly a small points deduction. But we're not going to hear, as they said, we're not going to hear about this for the next, for the next like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chief? I got some thoughts too. But what do you think?
I kind of think I understand the rules and the guidelines, so you don't have like a Sunderland situation where you buy all these players and it ends up sinking the club and it's bad for the league as a whole. I feel like they want to have some guardrails in there to prevent teams from like spending too much and going bankrupt. City can't go bankrupt. They're sitting on $1 trillion of oil. If they want to throw good money after bad forever on players or whatever, I think that, there is no salary cap. There is no salary floor. You can do whatever you want. And if you have all that oil money and you want to spend it on soccer players, who am I to tell you shouldn't do that and run your business at a loss? Because there's no like actual financial danger approaching Man City because of who their ownership is and where they get their money from, the way it would for a club like what we saw with Sunderland. So me personally, I would like the drama of it if they got some massive points reduction or got sent down for a year, because I think it would just be like a funny storyline, and I don't give a fuck about City anyways. But as like a person, I don't think it's a problem. I really don't.
So the problem is that, I mean, you're right. right? City's not at any danger of some sort of Leeds or Sunderland situation, right? They're not in any danger whatsoever. But you if you have rules, like, you just can't have teams flouting them. Otherwise, not only will City, break them, somebody else will, and that somebody that's not sitting on $1 trillion worth of oil. What's going to happen? I don't know. Zah said, there's no precedent there. You're right. There's no precedent in the Premier League. There is precedent with UEFA, right?
They've just UEFA and Serie A.
Right. And well, UEFA has been completely dickless about it. And basically, the CAS or whatever got him off on a technicality for the most part. If you listen, anybody who's been following this closely, and, you followed Football Leaks, as it was called, the WikiLeaks, the soccer version of WikiLeaks, like, City was caught red-handed. Like, there's emails basically just admitting what they were doing. So, like, for people to say that they weren't doing it is ridiculous. Now, whether the Premier League is really going to come down hard on them, I don't know, because, that's them sort of hurting themselves, right? I mean, it is good to have a team like City or a club like City out there. So I don't know how this goes. Like, anything other than a fine, it could be $1 billion is a slap on the wrist. Fine is going to do nothing. So it has to be a points deduction. It has to be, suspended from, well, they can't really do Champions League because FA only has control over what they can control. So it'd have to be maybe transfer bans, whatever. Like, there has to be something more stringent than fines, because that does absolutely nothing. I don't know how this goes. I have no idea, but I do think it's going to be drawn out. People are thinking, like, this is going to come to a head soon. I don't think so. I think this is, going to take a while to play out.
Yeah,
I think it's also important. Sorry to cut you off, Chief. It's also important to note that the FA's decision is final. So unlike the UEFA case, where UEFA gave a judgment, City was allowed to go appeal in the Court of Arbitration, Sports of Arbitration. Premier League rules do not allow for that. So whatever the FA decides, or whatever the independent committee decides on this case, is what's going to be the ruling kind of deal. So
that's what they say. Like, if City loses, they're going to try and appeal it somewhere. They will. Like, they absolutely will. I don't know what happens then.
They could probably just go to, like, actual English court.
Probably.
Like, yeah,
they probably will.
It's also, like, I know what you're saying. Like, they have to have the rules. I almost feel like it should be like buying a house. Okay. So if I'm buying a house, they're going to go through all my financials and be like, all right, this is what you can afford. This is what we'll loan you. This is what, this
case
is
by case basis, huh? Everybody plays by different rules.
Well, but, like, the rules are in place to guard against situations like Leeds and Sunderland. It's impossible. It'd be like, hey, like, I don't know, like Jeff Bezos, like, it would be silly for him to play by the same rules when buying a house as me. Because they'll just pull it out of their pocket and write a check, and they're good for it. Where it's like, no, like, I actually need the loan. Like, I'm the fucking Leeds guy who needs rules, so I don't get myself and then get everybody else in trouble with, like, a 2008 situation where we're all having houses that we can't afford. So that would be, like, my little qualification about it. But maybe City is just like, fuck this, and they lead the charge for the Super League. To get out of the FA. Maybe that's how.
Yeah, well, that's a whole. Yeah, it's so interesting that it all sort of comes into being within like 48 hours. How about
that?
What
did you make of the latest proposal?
I got a lot of thoughts on this. So I've really, we've been thinking about it for a couple of years, right? Ever since they revealed it the first time in 2021, and fan response was almost unanimous. Get the
Europe
fuck
was
out of
in
here.
Flames. Europe was basically in flames.
In a way, yes, it was basically. The system it does feel unhealthy. I'm not going to say broken. I don't think it's broken, but the system does feel unhealthy at the moment. But there's been other periods where other leagues have been, dominant. Serie A was dominant for a while. La Liga was dominant for a while. And Premier League is dominant right now. Is this different? Maybe. Because the amount of money, the sums being thrown around are, astronomically higher. In a sort of somebody who tends to believe in like the invisible hand and the power of it, I tend to think that, if Chelsea got too far out beyond their skis or whatever, then they'll have to pay for it. So I think that I'm not sure that some sort of wholesale change is needed. I do understand the reason, the rationale behind the Super League, but here's what my biggest issue is. When somebody is trying to sell you something and trying a little too hard to sell you something, you got to sort of dig into why they're trying to do it. And there's the people who really pushing this, Juve, Real Madrid, Barcelona. Two of those three, actually all three, are desperate for something.
Yep.
Barcelona and Juve are desperate for money, right?
Yep.
We know all about Juve's just gotten these points deductions. Barcelona, it's been widely reported how much trouble they're in financially. Real Madrid and Florentino Perez, specifically their president, he's just completely desperate for power. He always is. So there's something that these teams, these clubs desperately want and need. And what is it that they're selling us that is better than the Champions League structure, the Europa League, Europa Conference League? What is better about this? I haven't read anything. Like, granted, these are just fuzzy details at this point. And the new proposal is, they're going to be up to 80 teams. There's going to be promotion and relegation between them. So it's technically an open system, but it's not that open.
Right.
Okay. Like, Champions League is open. You finish in the top 4 in the Premier League, you get it. That's open, right?
Like, for example, a Wrexham can make it to the Champions League in the next 5 years. In theory.
Yeah. In theory, in the next 4 or 5 years. So they haven't laid out all the gory details, and of course that will be when we can really judge it. But right now, I don't understand what is better about the system they're proposing, and I have serious doubts about who's trying to sell it. So that's why let's just say I'm a soft no right now.
My main thing when I saw the news was with the whole 80 teams thing. How are those 80 teams picked? How do you become part of those 80 teams? Like, for example, as we just alluded to right here, Champions League. I mean, Wrexham is a non-league team right now. If they get promoted 50 billion times, end up in the Premier League, they can make it to the Champions League. What if, for example, Wrexham actually becomes a serious kind of club, as they climb up, this whole Super League thing comes into play. How do they get into that situation kind of thing? So it's the details are still murky. Look, when it comes to football, rationale for me, certain issues, but in particular, this one rationale goes out the window. I'm a traditionalist. Just keep it as is for me. I grew up with my Champions League. The theme song is the same. It's been played on the same days. Same.
It's a great theme song. It's a great.
It is.
With Tuesday, Wednesday night. Just don't change it for me. It may not be logical. The logic for me on this topic goes out the window. Keep it as is.
Right. One thing I gotta add though. So like when the people who really sort of push for the Super League and everything like that, their whole big part of it is that UEFA is taking way too much money and all this stuff, and that might be true.
Yeah, what are they trying to do? They're trying to do the same thing UEFA
right?
does.
It's exactly. There's no angels here, right? Yeah. There are no angels involved. So the people who are saying, you got to be on UEFA's side or you got to be on the side of this breakaway group. No, you don't. You can say that UEFA needs to perhaps change, but also we don't believe in the people who are pushing this Super League.
All right. So I've pitched this idea to Sam before. So Sam, you just shut up for a second while
I'm going to mute myself otherwise.
Okay. Yeah. Mute yourself. And Za, I want you to open up your heart and open up your mind a little bit.
The fact that Sam was already giggling at this is going to be good.
Okay.
I'm ready to receive
for all the big leagues and all the leagues to generate more money, and we're going to keep basically everything the same. Okay. I'm getting rid of the Carabao Cup. That thing doesn't matter. Everybody fucking hates that. It's a joke. Get rid of that. It's too much. Just keep the FA Cup for tradition. But at the end of the year, so we're going to condense the schedule a little bit to fit everything in, but you're going to have your full normal Premier League schedule. You're going to have your 3 drop teams. 17th place is going to be safe. And then 1 through 16 enter into a knockout playoff at the end of the Premier League season to determine the champion. So 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, and you do that over a 2-week period. You get one, then you get to every every league, Serie A, La Liga, etc., they have their own Super Bowl, if you will, that ends at Wembley or wherever they want. And then you take those winners of the top 16 leagues in Europe and do it again. And then, so one plays 16, maybe you do some kind of draw. So it's at the end of the season, because the thing that drives me crazy about the Champions League is that it takes place the next year. So you could have a situation where like you win, like Arsenal wins, and then they sell off their best guy to Roma or whoever, and then they're competing against his old team that he was on to qualify to get him there to begin with. It just seems like it jumbles my brain. It's like if you were on that team that got you to this Champions League, which is essentially a playoff, then you should keep that team together. So now you have it all. The champions are inside of one season, and it's just tacked on to the end. And then you have like a true European champion at the end of everything. And I think that's the best way to do it. That's how you determine a champion on the field within the same season.
All right. So to translate your idea into American, the Ligue 1 is the AFC South. La Liga is the NFC North. The Premier League is the NFC West.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then
you have a Super Bowl
championship, the NFC champions.
And the Super Bowl. You wouldn't watch at the end of the season. You wouldn't watch Fulham play against Liverpool in an 8-9 matchup. I think that's Fulham to Chelsea in an 8-9 matchup. Winner takes all. The Premier League needs more like moments, like memorable moments. If you think of all the biggest moments in the history of the sport, most of them are Peter Drury calling like these significant World Cup games or these elimination knockout style games towards the end of the Champions League. You need knockout in the Premier League, and you get that at the end of the season with a playoff. Relegation is preserved. 17th, you're just chilling at home. 1 through 16, like you have a chance to win a championship.
You know what, Chief? There is more chance of people of the Super League thing happening than there is of people entertaining your idea, my friend.
Every single person I have talked to that is a fan of the Premier League or football across the pond, everyone hates it.
I mean, you're pretty much creating a new sport.
It's the same sport. We're just tacking playoffs on at the end. Playoffs are awesome. Like, I don't know why people are like, oh, no, we don't want more memories. No, playoffs are fucking awesome.
Now, you know what my response is, right? We have that in the FA Cup that runs throughout the court. We have that knockout, that one, winner go home mentality games. We have that already.
No, you don't. You say you do. But like
for you to even say no, what were you? Let me ask you this: a simple question for you. In terms of you were saying there were no moments or what's it called? What were you tweeting about last? Was it this midweek? Yeah, this midweek and this past midweek. Weren't you tweeting about Wrexham?
Me? No, I don't give a shit about Wrexham.
Well, just in general, people were tweeting about Wrexham. I mean,
everybody else was.
It was Twitter had fucking record impressions because of Rick.
The FA. Now imagine if you did that, and that's the other thing. Like, Zah, have you ever followed the championship division?
Yeah, well, loosely.
Okay, so the top 2 automatically qualify,
and
then 3 through 6 go into a playoff, and that playoff run with Forest last year was electric. The shootout against Sheffield. Then you go to Huddersfield at Wembley. I went to that game. It was so intense. You ask everybody, who's gone through that. It's like, how do you want, if you could choose your way to qualify for the Premier League, all the fans would say, if I could guarantee that I'm going to win the playoff, I'll go through the playoff because it's so exciting. Obviously, you can't, so people are like, yes, playoffs at the end of the year are awesome. Everybody says that. Until I say, let's put it in the Premier League. Then they're like, no. At the championship level or all the other promotion leagues, it's great. At the Premier League, nobody wants it. So that to me is a contradiction because everybody acknowledges that 3-6-4-5 to get that final promotion spot is a great system. It's awesome. You play the last game at Wembley. It is effectively, it's what do they call it? The richest game in sport. Because I think it's like you win that game, it's worth $400 million or something because it's promotion.
Yeah, the promotion.
That and like it was so intense because now you look at where Huddersfield is in the championship, like they might get relegated down to League One and be with those losers from Derby. So like that whole thing, like why wouldn't you want to create something like that at the highest level with the best players and the best teams?
So what you're trying to tell me in theory is that 16th place West Ham right now, 16th place West Ham could win the league.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. Okay, but they could. And it gives them something to play for.
We just can't have that. We just can't have that after 38 games.
Yeah, after 38 games. I mean, they play 100.
You're making the regular season meaningless.
In baseball, and they like no one complains about that. 162.
Yeah, I mean that's why guys. I mean, don't guys sit games and they sit back to backs and all that?
Well, they sit guys in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup and certain legs, depending on the group stage of Champions League, depending on who you're playing, they sit guys and rest guys. So if you're not trying to win, then that at every stage of the tournament, then you shouldn't be having the tournament. That's my opinion.
I can't entertain it. I'm sorry. Again, that's one of those things where
I asked you to open your heart and you haven't. I asked you to open your heart.
Rationale goes out the window. I just cannot entertain it. It has to stay the same way as is.
He already said he's a traditionalist.
I know. When he said that, I was like, oh, fuck. All right. Well, that was my pitch. I think I'm right. I'm the only guy in the world that's right about this. It's more money. It's more entertainment. It's more high quality games. It's more everything, more memories, more moments, more excitement. But if people don't like that, then I guess that's their problem.
The rest of the world is crazy.
That's their problem. Yep, that's their
I
problem.
don't mind. I don't know if you guys know this about me. If I think I'm right, I don't care if it's me versus the other 8 billion people on the planet. I don't care. And I think I am right. Anyways, let's get into this week's slate of games.
Yes.
Sam, we'll start with you. What jumps off the page today?
Yeah, so there's some games I like here. Specifically Chelsea. I like Chelsea to win this game. They're going to West Ham. I know it's a London derby, and West Ham traditionally plays Chelsea kind of pretty well. But I just love Chelsea in this game. Now they've had a few, days, a few weeks to actually practice together now that they got all these new guys. Importantly, João Felix is back. And I know we got a really small sample size with him before he got that red card, but he was a problem with them, and they need a 9 bad. Havertz is not that 9. I think João Felix is that 9 for them. I think that Chelsea to win this game, I'm going to say love. I love Chelsea to win this game. It's plus money too, plus 123. So I like that. You could maybe, if you want to get a little crazy, you could parlay it with the over 2.5, which is also plus 123. It's like the universe speaking to you right there. Put them together as plus 295. So I like that one. I really like Chelsea to win though. That's probably my bet of the weekend. A couple other games: Leicester, Tottenham. James Maddison is back. Leicester with James Maddison is just a different team. I'm not sure they're going to win. I don't mind. Like I hate as a Tottenham fan, I would hate picking them to win, and I probably won't do it specifically because of that. But Leicester is definitely going to be a live opponent in this game. Tottenham coming off the win off of City. I think both teams to score in that game is a great pick. What other ones? Man City. Man City is going to be angry now. They that game on Sunday was awful. They looked terrible. They've now had a week to sort of process this whole situation surrounding, the financial irregularities and everything. I think that that's probably, and yes, this is definitely my bias speaking, by the way, Za, but I think that whole situation is going to maybe galvanize them and bring them together and help circle the wagons a bit. I love City in that game. I love Haaland to score. He's been a little quiet lately. So if you put City and City to win, Haaland to score, and probably the over if you want to get real crazy, that those three are the ones that I had written down.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I'll go with you on Chelsea. It's just there's too many things going. This is what I'm starting to realize. I'm going to start treating this more like I would as an investor. Okay. I'm not going to try to like throw everything in so I quadruple my money on a bet. If I get a 10% return, 20% return, that's fucking great. That's great. And I'm not going to be greedy about it. So when you're saying like, oh, look at City and they're minus 400.
Yeah.
but you have to add in all these other things. I've missed all these little things lately on one leg where it's like, why did you get greedy on that? Why did you get greedy on that? So I think I'm going to keep it simple. I'm not going to go with you on that one because there's too much going on. But I'll ride with Chelsea. What about you, Zoe? What's sticking out to you?
I'm on the overs train this week again. Just strictly overs. I'm not doing any sides. All right, so on this overs train, the first one, that first game, that West Ham Chelsea, I think there's a lot of goals in that. I got the over for that. That's 2.5. Crystal Palace Brighton. I think that game has goals in it too. That's on my card. That over. Love that over. I love your game, Chief. The Forest going to Fulham, going to Craven Cottage.
For the over?
What up? Yep. For overs. Totals. I love
even though Forest is like the best defensive team in the league now.
They are not the best defensive team in the league. let's pump the brakes. Let's pump the brakes here.
I mean, we just heard about how great Leicester was. They held them 2-0.
Let's pump
Leeds,
the brakes.
nothing.
Let's pump
Southampton, nothing. Chelsea got a lucky one. I mean, so Forest has the most points in the league in 2023. I don't know if you knew that. They had 11 points.
Isn't it Aston? I thought it was Aston Villa.
No, it's Forest. Forest has 11. Villa has 10. Forest is the best team in the league this year.
Okay, all right. Well, I like
Liverpool's bottom of the table.
Hopefully they will carry this goddamn over that I'm giving out. I like them in the over. Your game too, Sam. The Leicester Tottenham one. Give me that over. And they beat Liverpool last week 3-0. I mean, I gave that one out as the over. They scored 3 goals. Wolves going to Southampton. I think that one has goals in it too. So it's those. How many overs is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overs is what I like this weekend.
And you're staying away
from this weekend.
Brentford too. Nothing on Arsenal Brentford, huh?
Again, I don't bet on Arsenal. If I'm betting Arsenal games, it'll be on Arsenal and Arsenal only. How do I feel about that game? It's a big one. It's must win. It is must win. Arsenal at home. We've been brilliant at home, so there's going to be goals in that. If the total is 2.5, I can see that going over. I think we're going to win.
I think you're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to win too. What do you think about that game, Sam?
I think Arsenal should be nervous.
You think Arsenal what? Sorry, I was coughing.
I think you should be nervous. Brentford is a
very
good team. I know you listen. Arsenal's good, right? I've been trying to find ways to poke holes in them all season. They're a good team. You know, I don't think that loss to City was meaningful at all. In fact, if you're going to lose the game to City, like that's not bad at all. The Everton game, that was your first real, sort of bed shitting performance this season.
The City one, we didn't play that bad.
We'll see. Yeah, no, the Everton you did, and so that was the first time that I've been like, okay, maybe they will fuck this up. So we'll see. I'm interested to see how you bounce back from that. I'm really interested to see. And I if Brentford get that win, I'm gonna feel good. I'm gonna feel good about myself.
I mean, Arsenal at home though.
I know. Listen, Arsenal's good. They're at home, but Brentford is a live opponent. They go anywhere and give anybody trouble. So
any chance that they're looking ahead to City?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like the Everton week. I think that could have probably played into it as well.
What is that? That's Tuesday? That's Tuesday or Wednesday?
Midweek on Wednesday.
That's Wednesday?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to be massive.
All right. Yeah, the only I got one bet that I like this weekend, and you guys will be shocked that it is on the Forest game. I'm taking Forest, the double chance, and parlaying that with the Forest over half a goal. I don't think I'm not with you on that. There's going to be a lot of goals. Forest is really
plus 340
for what?
The money line.
Yeah, I'm taking a double chance. I'll take a point on the road. So Forest or draw. And then if you parlay that with the over for Forest, which is a half a goal. So I like Forest to get at least one goal. That just gets you to plus 128. I might sprinkle on them to win outright just because I go with
unbiased opinions only.
Yeah, but I really do. I like the way that they're playing. And there needs to be a little bit of a revenge factor. I feel like against Fulham from earlier in the year. That was the game my parents were at. They flew across. They went to the game at City Ground. They were up 2-0 at halftime and pissed it away. And that was September when Cooper was getting fired, and this is a disaster. And relegated, and then calendar flips over to October. Everything's I got a really good team. If
We got a whole new team. It's like a whole 15 new players. Everything.
Guys just keep getting hurt. We just can't doing what we can to stay up. Okay. You don't know what it's like to be one of these teams. Okay. You guys do this every year. You spend $1 gazillion on players, you two.
Listen, Tottenham. Pump the brakes on that.
You guys so much, but this is the reality where it's like we could either not sign guys and hope people come back from injury and go down, or we can just keep, they only signed 5 guys this time.
Only.
They had a great chant last week. There was like, we signed 30 players. Who gives a fuck? We're staying up. So and truth that sung to my heart, from their lips to my heart. Like that's the vibe. And I like somehow there's just great team unity too. If you see like the dancing videos, post game locker room, it seems like the team, like there's a lot of camaraderie on this team. They're a very lovable team. And I think they're going to get a result this weekend at Fulham, at Craven Cottage. This is a great name for the stadium. That's probably my favorite stadium name. What?
Plus 340. That looks tasty.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think I'm going to sprinkle a little something on that. I think they've just got the defense dialed right now. So I feel like they're going to, and then when it's not, they got Navas back there. So another guy that gets done. So it's just, they got a world-class goaltender. They got everything that they need. I think they're going to, I think they've got it kind of figured out now. I think they know who they are, and I think they have a system in place that works, and they're going to get results the rest of the way through. So I'm excited. I think they're going to. I think they can get up to 10th. I think they can get up to 10th.
Oh, okay. All right.
This is the roller coaster.
Okay, all right.
Manic depressive.
Just let him spiral.
He's on the upswing.
Yeah, I'm looking at or chasing down Liverpool now.
You guys lose the full 2-0 this weekend. It'll be completely different next week. Two more.
Like, I think Forest is better than their results kind of all year long.
Okay. Oh, listen. Unbiased opinions only.
Yeah. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be betting on them every single week.
2 more games, though. By the way, Newcastle's probably going to bounce back and beat Bournemouth. There's probably no value in that, unfortunately. I think United probably gets some revenge on Leeds this weekend. They're going to Leeds.
Mm-hmm.
It's only you get it at minus 114 for United to win that game. I kind of like that. I also kind of like both teams to score. But I like United to win the game outright. Money line minus 114. And then we just got to give a quick shout out to the Merseyside Derby, the saddest Merseyside Derby in eons. It's on Monday. Just I don't know what's going to happen in that game. Liverpool, they've been the worst team since you're talking about Nottingham Forest being at the top of the table since the turn of the year. Liverpool is at the absolute bottom of the table. I think they got 1 point. And Everton is Everton until they got that win against Arsenal. Everything was going in the shitter. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. I don't have a play for it. Usually it's like an under better's wet dream. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I feel like
if I had to, I'd go under.
With Matip and Gomez as center backs, there's going to be goals in that.
Yeah.
You would think, but then is Everton gonna win?
I don't think they're gonna leave their box. I don't think they're gonna leave. They'll probably send one guy up and back it in. Yeah,
it seems like an under type of game to me. But I don't really like betting unders. I'm just throwing it out there just because it's a Merseyside derby, so it's a big thing, right? It's a big event, but man, it feels just kind of sad right now.
It's the worst I think it's ever been in my lifetime. Where it's just like you just don't. If it wasn't on Monday, nobody would even care to watch, unless you live in Liverpool. It's
that sad. It's unfortunate. And Liverpool, we can all laugh at them and everything. They've been decimated by injuries, Van Dijk and Jota and Diaz and everything like that. Everton, obviously, the toxic situation surrounding the club is just a whole nother level. But this game, it is kind of sad. Very sad. All right, boys. Any final thoughts? We're all on board with playoffs. Let's go Manchester. All right.
3 points Arsenal against Brentford.
All right, boys. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you on the couch on Saturday. Let's get it. We live this time too? No, we're Harry's coming in to shut it down now. So recorded, it'll go out at 2, right, Harry? 2 Central. Yeah.
So that's what